So I just started watching the show, and I'm like an Ask the Bennett junkie. I just want y'all to know, like, I got Instagram, the YouTube. I watch them all the time, talking about them. And I was like, I said, Pastor Crum, I said, we got to have him on the show. Yeah. So, the Bennetts are here, so we just want to talk to you guys and start out with what made you start Ask the Bennetts. What is Ask the Bennetts?
Well, Ask the Bennetts is, we have a podcast and also, I guess, similar to a talk show. And what happened was we always have people that ask us different questions. I always have ladies that always ask me questions about marriage. Why did I get married again? The type of guy that my husband is, because we do have an age difference. Okay. And so they've always asked different questions. So I went to my husband and I said, people are always asking me questions, and I always say, let me go ahead and respond. And sometimes I ask him, how should I respond? And so we'll talk about it, and I'll respond to, the person. And so with that, birth Ask the Bennetts.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Well, she's missing out on a whole lot of pieces.
Oh, I like that.
No, in the beginning, like you said, people would come up to us and ask us different questions, like when we were out and shopping and just randomly at different times, like, why are they asking us these questions? Like, what do we do? Like, we're not experts. Yeah, we're not experts. We don't, that's not what we do. But, I guess they saw something in us, and, we were able to give, some type of valuable information to whoever it was. So, she kept getting asked, and we kept getting asked these questions. So I was like, let's try to do this at the same time. Because most people have the same questions or some of the same questions. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was like, maybe let's, create a platform to where we can, accommodate, answer some of these questions at the same time. And, social media nowadays is one of the best ways, radio, as we're on now, but some of the best ways social media is try to get the word out there. Just our, initial job was just to help, in general, not to really just have a talk show or anything like that, but we just really wanted to answer. That's what we're doing, just answering people's questions that they ask us.
From our perspective, and what our experience is. Yeah. So we love supporting people. We love people. So we just want to help God's people. And if it's marriage, then that's how we help. Sometimes we have a lot of single people that ask questions as well. Yep. So we just try to, be supportive and ask the best way we know how. Yeah. Answer.
Right. Now you mentioned that you're a little older than him. How did you handle that? Because I know people, how you gonna marry?
Believe
I know they came at you. Oh,
listen, we had so many naysayers because they knew that there was an age difference. First of all, it took me a minute to even. Oh God, yes.
That's what they called you.
No, I hadn't even heard the term cougar until somebody said, "Oh, Janita, you a cougar," and I said, "Okay, well, I guess I'm a cougar."
Good to be a cougar than a hyena. They say the hyena's ugly.
At least she's a pretty cougar.
She's a cougar. That's right.
She's a beautiful one. Beautiful one.
So do you mind if I ask the age difference?
19 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so how did he finally woo you over? Was it that bass?
Watch out. Watch out.
Well, it was funny. We never even really tried. It was really, we started being friends first. So it was no love at first sight. He didn't see me across the church, and I saw him. But the first time I saw him, I thought he was a cute little guy. You know what I'm saying? But never anything, other than that. So we started being friends. It actually all started with a car ride. We carpooled to Friendly's one night. Okay. And I was saying to him, I was like, you go all over the world. What type of music do you play? And it started from Friendly's ice cream, just talking and becoming friends.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And he eventually, he won me over. Wow. It was difficult because I didn't know if I was ready for what people were going to say. I worried about talk. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so after a while, when I saw how thoughtful he was, you understand? Like, he was so caring. I had never met anybody that cared so genuinely for me. Wow. So after a while, I started going, oh my God, I'm starting to fall.
Come on.
Come on.
Talk about it.
This game was strong.
Listen, it got to be strong.
Wow.
And guess what? It's strong today.
That's good
He
stuff.
hasn't let it die. Not at all.
That's good.
It's gotten even better. So.
But that's the thing. She was worried about what people were going to say. As the younger guy with the older woman, people were going to praise me. If they heard that, most likely you hear that a lot of times. Oh, you got you. But it was her side that was more. hesitant. So it was me kind of weighing her out. Like, are you going to really be able to deal with this? I was ready. Like, come on.
Wow.
I was done. Like, let's do it. But it took us some time to come along. But we work.
Yeah.
Wow.
We work.
We definitely were.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
And you know what's so awesome about it is that we always have, they got to be this age or that age. But you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
I tell my sister girls everywhere, don't knock it. At least go and talk. Have coffee. Have tea. Just talk, because you don't know. You understand? So sometimes they say, I don't want nobody that's going to be a kid. Sometimes we have older men that are kids.
Sure do.
Absolutely.
So it's just because he's young doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a kid.
Right.
Derek is an old soul. He's very mature. Like he told, I'm still baffled by him. Someone said to me, so are you a sugar mama? I didn't have nothing to really be a sugar mama. So I knew he had to like me.
Wow. Wow, that's good stuff. Wow. Listen, we're talking to the Ask the Bennetts. We're going to come right back after great music. Stay tuned. Ask the Bennetts are on Church Talk.
Yes.
Time. Who we got on here today?
Ask the Bennett.
Love it, love it, love it. So, before break, we was asking about, we was talking about your age difference and how Miss Janita, or Mrs. Janita, pretty much said she kind of had to get over what people was going to say, because, church folk and people can be mean. They just can say
Nasty,
some old
just
crazy
nasty,
stuff. Oh, you a
ignorant.
cougar, huh?
Right.
Just saying all kind of stuff. And I'm glad that you said, it was me. I had to get over people and move on. And now you all in love and moved on from friendlies.
Black love.
But not just people. My mental.
Oh, that's right.
That's what I had to battle with first.
Oh.
So once I got that under subjection, then I was able to deal with what people would say.
Wow. That's very important right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's key. You got to get over it in your mind first. Because what if you wouldn't have? You would have missed out.
Oh, right. I would have missed out, or I would be causing havoc in my home still today if I had married him. If I hadn't, been sound enough to say, "Hey, this is what's for me."
Wow.
So.
Now, how did your families receive it?
Oh, wow.
How were they?
Well, it's interesting. One day, my sister, she said, I've noticed that you and Derek have been hanging out a lot. And she's like, so what's going on? I was like, nothing, ain't nothing going on. So she was like, Janita, I know you. So I was like, nothing is going on. So finally I said, yeah, I have a thing for him, he got a thing for me, but this will never work. So she said, listen, if you know that he's for you and he cares for you and he treats you like you're supposed to be treated, you can't worry about what anybody else has to say.
Right.
You need to get over it and go for it.
Wow.
Right,
That's good
sis,
advice.
what sister knows best.
Yeah, so my family, they loved Derek prior to that, because Derek played the bass at the church that I attended. So, and a lot of that is my family. So they already knew him. However, once he went back to dinner with me, they were giving him all these questions in third degree. But they loved him. They loved him, before he.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I was ready for it. That's just the kind of family that they were. And like you said, I knew them before then. So, I was ready to get that roast, for real. I didn't mind. I didn't mind. They were like family to me already. Yeah. So it was like that was an easy transition. But for us, on the other end, with my family, is a little bit different, because she wasn't around my family a lot as much. So, like when she talked about the mental thing, it was hard for her to get over that in the beginning. Mainly because she was worried about what my family was going to say. Mainly about what my family was going to say and how they were going to perceive her. But I said, no, just come around. They'll love you just like I love you. Just come around and they'll get to know you. So after a while,
do you remember the first time I met your parents?
Yeah,
I sat we sat in the truck, and he's like, I want you to come in, I want you to meet my parents. I was going, today?
We didn't even plan it.
Today.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it took maybe like 20 minutes for me to get out the car. I was so nervous.
Yeah, we didn't plan it. But I said, you gotta rip the Band-Aid off and just come on, and we gonna do this thing. Let's do it right. They need to know who you are.
Wow.
So that's how we started off.
Cool.
That was funny.
And so we were looking at the show. You got like a bunch of different shows, and we were looking at the views. Pastor Crumity and
Pastor P.
I forgot
P.
Pastor P. I don't want to say Master P. I'm saying Pastor P. So it's this one show on here that has like tons and tons of views. It's called "How Do You Know If He or She Is the One?" That was a question you all had to answer. So could you talk to us about that?
Well, about that specific show, what we did was we brought it back to us. How do you know that person is the one? First of all, they don't just care about themselves. It's not just all about them, you know. So with Derek and I remember asking God, I said, God, you know, if he's for me, I need a sign, I need a something. And so at that particular time, I was staying at work very late till like 11 o'clock at night because I had a project deadline. And something was wrong with my computer. And Derek was so thoughtful that day. And that day, I think I was just being such a meanie girl. But he didn't care. He knew that I shouldn't be at work that late, you know. And sometimes he would drive to my job when I was ready to come out, and he would follow me home to make sure you know I was home.
Like 11 or midnight.
Yeah, it was like 11. Yeah. So, anyways, this particular evening, I had come home and I was tired. And when I walked in the door, my daughter was grinning at me so hard, and I was like, "Well, you know, what are you grinning at?" And she was just smiling.
You know, every time she tells a story, I
them.
never know where she's going. But she says the same way all the time until she gets to this point. But I'm sorry, go ahead. That's just funny to me. Go ahead.
So anyways, I know I skipped a whole bunch of stuff except for what really stood out to me. So this whole day I was acting really stinky.
What kind of language can we use on this?
This is church. Whatever you hear in your pulpit is what you're saying on there.
Oh, man.
And so anyways, I was just a meanie that day because I was just bothered. You know, my computer was messed up. They kicked me out the building at a certain time because the custodians leave, so I had to go. So anyways, I walked in the door and Derek looked at me and I don't even think I said hello. So when I walked into the other room, there was a huge Mac computer sitting on my desk. And not that I needed the sign of something that was material. What it was is that he was very thoughtful. I never asked. Like he paid attention to detail. Before I say anything, I don't even have to say anything, and he just knows. Like he just watches my mannerisms and you know how I'm acting. So he was just so thoughtful. Of Janita. Wow. You get what I'm saying? So I said, God, you know, it's not that what he just purchased for me, it's the act, the thought of it. So, you want to step in?
No, you're doing fine. Go ahead.
So I looked at him and I apologized. I said, I'm so sorry for being such a stinky, witchy girl. So he was like, get out of here. So anyways, he was just very thoughtful. You know what I mean? But that's all of the time.
Wow.
You know, so one of the things we talked about is this person has to make sure that they have your best interest at heart. You know, make sure they pay attention, you know, love you regardless of your stinky, ugly acting ways sometimes. Because sometimes we have days and we're just, especially women, you know, we can get out of the way. We can be like, you know what I'm saying? So he was just so calm with me and just, you know, calmed me, you know.
Yeah. No, that was a nice episode. That was a nice episode.
Right.
Were we talking about what was the title?
The title was How Do You Know They're the One? How do you know that
they're the one? Now, like I said, we are not experts. We're just going off of our own experiences and just kind of relaying them to everybody else's question. So my answer to that was really how big her heart was. You know, even before we were together, she just had a huge heart, and one of the ways she showed that was through one of her programs that she does, is the Christmas program. I don't know if you guys know.
Yes.
Jaws Kids. So she does it every year. She's served thousands of children every year with a full Christmas. You know, presents, the family, the mother, the father, the whole entire family. So for years, I watched her do this. I was like, you're not getting nothing for this at all. I mean, seeing all of the, you know, the headache that she's going through with dealing with different people and different parents, and they're feeling entitled because they, you know, this is a program, but she's given, you know, from herself and just through donations people are given. But I'm looking at her every single year, and I used to go help. Well, not used to, but I don't think I stopped helping every single year, so I still do. I just thought it was so awesome, just that alone, not even for me, but for other people. So that was one of the things that I knew, how big her heart was. I knew that she was going to have a big heart for me. So that was one of the things that led me to, don't do that. That led me to knowing, and like with this whole journey, we talked about before in the break that, you know, the church really needs to have this type of platform because a lot of people don't talk about it in church.
That's right.
these subjects, I mean, even with, divorce or with, I want to get married, I don't know who, this is the right one, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Even through sexual topics, we don't talk about that in the church. So we wanted to be able to help whoever, not just in the church, just beyond the four walls.
Right.
Doesn't even matter. So that platform, like I was saying before, social media is one of the biggest platforms, and I think this is one of the things that we've been wanting to do for a long time. Just didn't know how to do it,
Right.
but luckily it's been growing and growing, and it's actually amazing to see. So yeah.
Wonderful ministry. Listen, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about how do you know when it's time to spice things up behind the closed door. Listen, if you got a partner and y'all need you afraid to talk to him, go get him, tell him sit next to you, don't tell him what we're about to talk about. But when we come back, we're going to tell him how to get himself together. Get that mojo working. We'll be right back. We got Asta Bennett on here.
Yes, Asta Bennett.
And Miss Kelly is just in heaven because she woke up in the middle of the night, rolled over, and dropped her phone.
In the middle of the night.
Uh-huh.
The Lord, you see how God be working it out?
That's
he
what
works
he did.
it out.
He worked
right?
it out. He shook you.
He gave me what I needed, encouragement.
He
when
shook
I was
you.
in my sick bed.
In your sick bed.
Yes.
What was the show you? What show you liked the most?
The show I like the most is the vacation, when the surprise vacation.
Oh, you clapping like
because,
the devil too. Hercules.
You know, I like the surprise vacation because they had a little video. She was like, I don't know where, how Johnny said, I don't know where my husband is going to take me. I don't know where he's going to take me. Right, that's what she said. Then next, she's like, oh, and then he was like, Mexico. I was like, oh, I'm there too.
You was in Mexico, or you just felt like
I was there, vicariously. I'm like, Lord, yeah. I'm like,
all
Lord,
at
one
3 o'clock in the morning?
One day. No, that wasn't 3 o'clock in the morning. This was, a later. I told you I'm a junkie. I've been a junkie. I just like to support good people.
That's good stuff. And they are good people. I've known Miss Janita for years, a long time.
Yes.
A long time. So before the break, someone asked the question. Why do we sing? When we lift our hands, blah, blah, blah. No, we asked the question because I know you and your spouse are sitting there listening to our spirit because you want to hear the question, you want to hear the answer.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know? Two questions. How do you know when it's time to spice it up?
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you throw a little paprika in there and spice it
He
up?
couldn't wait to say that. I just want y'all to know that.
Not that, me and Sister Cremedy, because we good. We good, she was like, we good right now. But just in case I get a little older, falter.
Oh, man.
Good question.
Wow.
So how do you know when you're supposed to spice it up? How do you know?
Well, a lot of times you do know. Most times when you're in something for quite a bit of time, you get comfortable, you get complacent. Things become a little, you just get real laid back. It's kind of like on your job. You got to continue to do things, to meet your deadlines and all that stuff. But after a while, you're like, that's my boss. They know me. I'll do that next week. I know I'm supposed to do it. But, it's just like a marriage, so you have to spice things up. One of the things Derek used to always do in the car was reach his hand out to me so I can put my hand in his hand. But one time I said to him, we were driving, I said, babe, you no longer reach your hand out to me. Mm-hmm. So he said, well, babe, you can reach your hand to me too. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what, you're right. It doesn't have to just be one-sided. It should be, together. So we notice some things like, when I walk by, normally when I walk by you in the kitchen, you kind of tap my side. Mm-hmm. I didn't get that tap lately. So, he want to tap too.
Exactly.
Just because you're a man don't mean you don't want somebody to show you affection and don't want somebody to touch your muscles or, you know what I'm saying?
That's
your
right.
arm, whatever. So, when things are different.
Mm-hmm.
When things are different. He hasn't paid attention to me. She hasn't paid attention to me. Now he's always working. So when things are changing.
Right.
Because normally with time, things change.
The key with that is you have to communicate that to the other person.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go around saying, "Oh, they don't do this to me no more," expecting
And
them
be
to do it.
mad.
They don't.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. And expect it, like you walking around with rocks in your jaws, like they not doing this, but how did they know? They might not realize it. Mm-hmm. So you have to communicate that. Like she would tell me, or I would tell, well, you don't do this no more. What's going on? What's good? Mm-hmm. But that communication part is the key. Like you have to be able to communicate that to the other spouse. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's
We've
one of
gotten
the
to a
ways.
place where, we talk, we'll say
Yeah.
stuff. So I try not to say things when he's saying something because I just need to hear him.
That's
You know what
good.
I mean? Even though I might want to, well, but you did, yeah, what you said, but you ain't touched me. No, okay,
Yeah.
babe, I got you. I remember when I was in the hospital. I had gotten really, really ill, and Derek treated me like I was a little baby, and I'll never forget saying to him, I know I had surgery, I know I was real sick, but I still need your affection. I still need you to hold me. I want to lay in your chest, and I need you to put that big arm around me. But he was just so nervous because at that time I was so fragile, So, but I had to let him know, hey, I'm getting back.
Yeah.
So I need all of that. I need more because I need you to help get me back where I was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
One thing that was, and everything you're saying is sound, but from a guy point of view, something you said is that guys need to feel that touch too, because, me and my wife walk around and I pat her real quick, and every now and then, as long as it's her, you can pat me there too, I mean, as long as it's you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's really key that, guys want to feel that affection as well.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, you said to communicate, sometimes we don't say
Voice
it,
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm quick to listen, boo.
Yeah.
Rub me, hold me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That ruined a lot of relationships. Just somebody not saying something.
Wow.
And Derek knows. I love his muscles. I love his chest. I didn't want to like his bald head, but I do like it. So in the car, I rub it. Like I constantly touch him, constantly, because I am attracted to him.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And he needed to know that. So not just the other lady outside is gonna let him know. I'm gonna be the first person
right.
to let him know, baby, you look good to me.
That's right.
Right.
And see, this is good also too for single people, because a
Absolutely.
lot of times we need to hear this. So when our time comes, I think that's the thing, we don't usually get enough training. People speaking that wisdom and saying this what you do, this what you don't do. So I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
But we're talking about spicing it up. Okay. So can you tell us about what you did that was really, really special to spice things up?
Here we go. I think you can best explain that, how it started, and I'll take the end.
Well, first of all, there was a whole bunch of storytelling going on here.
Okay.
Meaning, he wasn't truthful, but it was okay because it was a great surprise.
Okay.
So Derek had asked me maybe like April, prior to my birthday. He said, "Hey babe, when does school end? I want to go on a vacation. I want to go somewhere. We had a rough 2 years, excuse me, with my health. So he was like, we just need to get away. I want to take you somewhere." He said, "And I want it to be hot and I want it to be around water." Okay. So he's asking me these questions consistently. However, apparently, the trip was already planned.
Yeah, I had already done.
Nice.
Already done.
Cool.
Already done. Had to throw off his scent a little bit.
He really threw it off. So, all I knew was, okay, I planned this trip. We're leaving on the Monday after I get out of work. Okay. So I don't know. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I was going somewhere that involved heat and water.
Because I had to put that in there. Because you got to be prepared.
That's right.
For your dress.
That's right.
Where you're gonna
Right.
go? Because I know how ladies are. So
And
I'm like,
as
okay,
I
you
am
tell us.
packing, he's looking at me like, "No, I wouldn't take that. No, I wouldn't take that. No, I wouldn't take that either." I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
I'm
so-
throwing out subtle hints. But that's one of the ways too, like just to spice it up, the unknowing.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
unknowing.
of her just like, okay, I'm going somewhere. It depends on the person too, because they might just not be that person. I want to know this. I want to know that.
Yeah.
But have that kind of leeway to where you can be.
someone did
surprised.
say to Derek, or was it to me that, man, I could never take my wife on a
Oh,
trip
yeah.
because she will ruin it. She ruins it every time.
She
So
knows
we as women, we just got to pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So a lot of surprises can happen, but we ruin a lot. So but anyways, I was excited. I wanted to know, and so I'm just gonna throw this tidbit in here. So if Derek said to me, he said this stuff was all in my computer, all in my phone. Now, if I was a snitch in my husband's phone, going in his phone, because I have the password, being, what's the word? For lack of a better word, just not trusting, I would have that surprise would have been messed up.
Yeah.
But he's left his phone, he left his computer, and not one time did I go on it.
Wow.
I'm so glad that I didn't, because then that surprise would have been ruined. Because the fact of going to the airport and seeing Cancun
Wow.
on that sign
Right.
when I found out where I was going was the most wonderful thing ever.
Wow.
The most wonderful thing
Right.
ever.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Not, the whole phone thing.
Yeah.
That has ruined so many.
So many.
That dreaded phone. I'm telling you, that's a demon right there.
It
I'm
is.
telling you, it's the reason behind a lot of breakups.
Absolutely. My wife doesn't go through mine, but I use the same password for everything.
Yeah.
I lock because I talk to other people as far as church stuff, but she's got the same. I got the same password. And she be like, "What's your password?" You got the same one. You can go through anything you need to go through. But you got to have that openness,
Yes.
and you got to not be doing stuff
That's right.
that if they happen to
But
just one
sometimes
day.
that helps hold a person accountable because let me not even try to be doing that.
Don't even listen.
There you
Exactly.
go. Yep.
Absolutely. Listen, we're on Church Talk. We're talking to the Bennetts. We got some more good conversation coming up here on Church Talk. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
We're so blessed to have the one and the only, the Ask the Bennetts on here.
Yes.
Listen, I'm telling y'all, he is giving great advice. The husband is giving great advice. But I told him I want him to go get that bass. This man here and this bass. I mean, I'm a Hammondist, but I would trade. I would put the Hammond down just if he taught me one full song, just one song with the bass, one song with the bass. We're so glad that you're here.
Yes.
Giving out great nuggets, talking about communicating, talking about talking with each other, talking about being open, spicing up things. Anything else you wanted? What's another episode that you all done that? Because you said you all get several questions.
Yeah.
How do you tell? You said, "What do I do if my fiance doesn't like my
Yeah.
friends?" Now, how do you handle that when? Because you got your own circle of friends, and here come Bubba. You like Bubba, but Susan don't like Bubba.
Right.
How do you handle that? Is it friends over boo or what?
Yeah. I think the question before was like, I think the fiance was the girl and the guy didn't like her friends. I think you can deal with that the same way you deal with family.
Okay.
Friends, it will be the same way. If you don't, if you have some type of relationship with your friend, you have to be able to separate that with the family as well. So you have to come to one accord to say, okay, babe, or whoever, this is my friend. If they don't like that in the beginning, it's up to you to decide if that's a deal breaker for you. Because if that friend means that much to you, to where your spouse is going to come between, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. Like, okay, I'd rather have my friend than for you to mess up this friendship that I built for however long or whatever. So that's really up to the individual to say, I can't do that. That's a deal breaker. Whoever this is means a lot to me. This is my friend. And they have to understand that. I mean, I hope whoever you're with is not like that, because that is your friend.
Absolutely.
And that person means a lot to you.
Yeah, and you have to take time. Just like I wholeheartedly believe when people say, girl, you marrying him, you ain't marrying his family. No, you are marrying his family. And sometimes you are marrying those friends, especially if it's a very good friend. You know what I'm saying? My best friend and Derek has this little thing. They say, hey, I need to say something to my best friend. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm his best friend, I'm her best friend. But a lot of times you have to get to know sometimes you feel like, or you could be a little jealous because you feel like, oh, she spends time with her all the time. Well, get to know that person. So you have to get to know the person's friend to see, okay, so maybe she is kind of good. Maybe she can be a little loud. Maybe she might be a little ghetto. She might be a little petty, but that's her friend and she's caring. But so you have to get to know that person to say, okay, so she is cool. This is not going to be a deal breaker. I still can, move forward.
Right, and it's also good to know that, only because you have to deal with this person in some type of sense, because this is whoever, that's your friend. So even if you don't like them, if you're not the best of friends, you still have to be able to be cordial. You have to be able to know that this person makes you happy. At the same, I was going to mention too, be open with your friends too, because even if you have that's a whole nother topic. Same sex friends, or opposite sex friends. Be open with who you're friends with. So it won't be a mystery or a suspicion later on.
Yeah, you don't talk to them on the phone in the corner. You should be able to talk to them in front of that person.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean, as well.
Yep. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother.
So, I gotta go outside. Let me just talk to.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey, Susie, how you
Make this phone
doing?
call.
Ain't none of that.
That's right.
Any male friend that I have
Yep.
I can talk to in front of Derek. As a matter of fact, I went to Syracuse this week because my sister was doing an off-Broadway show. And Derek was in Maine. We had a long day. My daughter had to work. And I knew I needed to go and see my sister. So I asked one of my really good friends who's a male, hey, what you doing tonight? You're not doing nothing. Ride with me to Syracuse. But immediately I said to Derek, hey, I asked is it okay? Are you fine with that? He's like, yeah. So, my friend said, hey, did you talk to Derek? Because I'm not trying to,
That's good.
I said,
That's good stuff.
nobody can make me disrespect my husband. I love him too much.
Right.
He's too good to me.
Right.
So I said, you already knew that answer. He said I did, but I just thought I would throw it out there.
Right.
So nobody can make me disrespect.
It's something that our pastor says, clear communication cancels confusion.
Oh wow.
I like that.
So you have to, like I said, have to have that line of communication open. You know, if I didn't know who she was talking, who you going to? You know, nah, I don't know this dude. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't have been none of that. You know, so you have to be open to who your friends are, so you can just have that same, and the same vice versa, the same way it works.
And at some point in time, you had a conversation with that male friend, like, this is my husband, this is that, and so that's very key, that when you get married or dating someone,
Right.
if you do have opposite sex friends, or nowadays same sex friends, put them in their place. This is my husband, this is my boo. You know, we can remain friends, I cherish our friendship, like you said, have that, but this is, and this is where it's going to be at, and I love that. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like what you say. Could you say that again?
What is that?
That phrase?
Oh, clear communication cancels confusion.
Yes. Clear communication cancels
Yeah,
confusion.
it goes around the board.
Yes.
Yeah, everything.
That's good stuff. Listen, we're talking to the Bennetts. Listen, we got more music and more conversation here on Church Talk, Our Spirit That Online. And so ask the Bennetts, how do we hear you? How do we get in touch with you with our questions? How do we see you to get more of this great ministry that you all are doing?
Check it out. You can comment on any video that we upload. You can inbox us, askthebennetts@gmail.com. You can look at us on YouTube, Ask the Bennetts, Facebook, Ask the Bennetts, Instagram, Ask the Bennetts, podcast, Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, Ask the Bennetts, everywhere possible. Twitter, Ask the Bennetts.
Wow.
So whatever platform that you're on, we are there. Just come with your questions. Don't be hesitant. We do not expose who's asking the questions. So
that's very key.
just
That's
go
good.
ahead and ask them, and we'll answer them, and as if they're anonymous. So just come with them. Marriage still works.
Marriage still works. It takes two.
Takes two.
It still works.
Yes.
God honors marriage.
Right.
And sometimes it's work, but you stick together, you talk, you communicate, you know what I mean? Don't go and talk to everybody else. You have to talk to who you're married to, Derek shouldn't hear anything outside before he's heard it from me. He shouldn't even hear it from anyone else.
That's right.
So talk, learn to communicate, and respect each other. That is so important.
That's good. I know people say, well, how you doing? I'm not going to complain because it don't do any good. But it depends on who you're complaining to.
Right.
If I got an issue with my wife, I need to talk to my wife.
Absolutely.
We're so glad you came here on Church Talk. Believe you me, you will be back again. Because this is a wonderful, life-enriching, marriage empowering ministry. We love you all for that.
All right, so check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Clear communication cancels confusion. So if you're in a relationship and you don't know what to say to your spouse, you don't know which direction to go, and you guys are having problems, clear communication cancels confusion. That's going to solve most of the problems. If you just talk to your spouse, if you talk to them, say what's on your mind, say what the problem is, tell them how you feel. That's the first step to getting to that next level of your relationship.
He said it all.
That's cool. All right. That's Ask the Bennetts. Now, how can we find you guys, get in touch with you? Tell us how can we find the Bennett.
So this is, I think it's probably on Facebook, right? So you can do Facebook, Ask the Bennetts, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Ask the Bennetts, Instagram, Ask the Bennetts, podcast, everything is Ask the Bennetts, Twitter, everywhere you can find us, and just ask your questions either in a comment or in a message, and we'll put that in our list of questions that we need to answer and make a video.
And we never ever expose who it is. There's some people that want to be, say tag us, but we don't. So everything is anonymous.
All right, so you guys heard it. Ask the Bennetts. Check them out. Thank you all so much.